Hey guys, today we're unboxing this, the MSI Pro Z890-S Wi-Fi. This motherboard is an Intel motherboard, not AMD, and this one has got Wi-Fi as it says, and it is meant for the Intel Core Ultras. It says Intel Core Ultra, Intel Core, the chipset on this is the Z7890. And this motherboard states that it's ready for AI PC. On the side of the box, you've just got MSI branding over there, and then over here you've got the layout of the board and a few things that they will bring to our attention. So this motherboard has got a few heatsinks. We'll have a look at that now. It's got the 12 duet rail power supply or power system, 2.5 gig LAN. It states that it's got a bit of a shield over there on the M.2. And the I/O shield at the back is fitted to the board, so it's not a loose plate that you press into your chassis. It's got Thunderbolt 4, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.4. The lighting is Gen 5, and the front USBs has a 20 gigabits per second Type-C port. I think the chassis we're going to install has got 2 of the front USBs. So let's get this out of the box. If you need the user manual, you can just scan this little code over here and it'll take you to the website that will show you everything about this board. Right, when we open up the box, the board is packaged in nice anti-static bag. This little pocket just lifts out, and inside you have your Wi-Fi antenna. The thing that might be a bit worrying these days is every brand and every manufacturer is bringing out their own kind of antenna connector at this stage. Let me quickly show you. In some of my other reviews I showed that the Asus board and the Gigabyte board, they've each got their own way of connecting antennas to the motherboard now. So if you lose this antenna, you will have to get this antenna again to make that work. And the same for the other manufacturers. Let's get the board out of the box. It's not too heavy, but let's just put it to the side and quickly see what else is in the box. Alright, at the bottom of the box you have your 2 SATA cables for your SSDs or hard drives or whatever you want to install. One is a 90-degree and the one is a straight cable. Over here you've got a little key to just unscrew a hex connector with that. You've got your little NVMe or M.2 screws and adapters over here, 3 of those. And it seems like a little cable for your RGBs. It might be. We'll see where this goes now. Let's get the motherboard out of the bag. And this is the Pro series of MSI Pro Z890-S Wi-Fi. We'll go around the motherboard and just quickly have a look at everything that it's got. So here you've got your CPU power 1 and 2. Both of these are those 8-pin connectors. Very thick and heavy heat sinks that you've got on here. Bit of MSI branding over there, and these lines. So it's more a kind of a light kind of a finish, white letters and white on the motherboard. It's got this little RG or this little strip that's going to lit up when you switch the board on. And on this motherboard you will see that you've got your PCIe power slot also over at the bottom. So let's quickly start from the top. If we have a look at the fan headers, this is the CPU fan 1, and then you've got a pump fan here, a pump fan header. Then you've got a fan 2 and fan 3 for chassis, and way at the bottom you've got another system fan plug. Also hidden over here you've got a system fan plug for the back of the chassis. So 6 fan headers in total if we include the CPU and pump fan. You will see that the motherboard has got a bit of solid state caps over here. The VRMs are all hidden underneath these big heat sinks, so it's not easy to see them, but they are underneath there. And over here you will install your M.2. Let's quickly get these screws out. This M.2 is working in a bit of a different direction than the normal layout of the motherboards. There's your heatsink with its cooling pad. You need to remove this sticker when you put it on the M.2. It plugs in this way, and over here you can see there's that quick release for the M.2, which just turns and turns around and keep the M.2 down. You can install this to the shorter position, and at the bottom also this M.2 is facing this way again, and over here is another M.2 facing the same way, and these can also fit different sizes with those little screws that we saw in the packaging. These M.2s are all 64 gigabits per second, but this one at the top is Gen 5 and this is 128 gigabits per second. Then the SATA ports that's located over here. So on this side, if we have a look, this is where your power supply will connect, your front USB 3, this has got USB 3.2 I think, and these ports are 60 gigs per second. So you've got a lot of speed when it comes to your drives and SATA ports on this board. At the bottom, you've got your normal stuff, your audio plugs, that power plug that I showed, that's a bit different, USB connectors, the RGB connectors, and all the rest. At the back of the motherboard, you can see that the processor is supported with a bit of metal over there, so you do have some support for that LGA1851. And let's have a look at the connections that you get. So there is your 20 gigs Type C port. This one is the Thunderbolt 4 port. This has got display also. Over here you've got your display port, you've got your HDMI port, 6 of the USB 3s, and this is 5 gig ports, and this is your 2.5 gig. There's a Wi-Fi 7 connector with those weird kind of connectors that you get with, and your audio plugs, line in and out, and mic. So with these 6 USB connectors that this board has got at the back, you will be relying on your chassis extra USBs that it's supplying you, or ways to connect extra USBs for this motherboard. I can quickly just lift up this so that we can have a look at that LGA1851 socket, and that is to support the Intel Core Ultras. There's quite a bit of tension on that, so that'll press down on the CPU nicely. What I didn't mention is that this PCIe slot is in a metal jacket, so it is nicely supported and a bit more reinforced. And then you've got 3 more PCIe's on this motherboard. This one is also a PCIe 5, 2 PCIe 4 slots, and a PCIe 3 slot still. So 16, 16, and times 16, and times 1. The processor that we're going to use on this board is the Intel Core Ultra 7, the 265K. So it's an unlocked processor, and we're going to just run that with this motherboard. Maybe something to just mention on these graphics boards, these two are 60 gigs, 60 Hertz. So it's 4K 60 Hertz for the display port, 4K 60 Hertz for the HDMI port, but this little port can do 4K 120 FPS and 8K 60 FPS. So that is insane for just graphics on a motherboard. So directly fitted to the board is already a graphics card capable of a lot. So you'll definitely be enjoying 60 and 120 FPS easily. And if you go 8K, you can do it at 60 FPS. This board does support all the kinds of RGB, so it's got JA RGB over here, and it's got that other special connector of them, that the little cable that came with. So this little cable will just plug into that little port, and you've got your RGB cable just over there running your RGB. This motherboard has 4 slots for DDR5, so both of the sides on this slot can click open and you can easily remove your RAM from that. If you have a close look inside of there's a little also almost like a bearing, but it's just to make the RAM easily fit into the slot. Just a nice touch on the RAM slot over there. The Wi-Fi on this motherboard is Wi-Fi 7, and it's also got Bluetooth 5.4. When it comes to the audio, I don't know if these ports, but the digital audio on this is 8-channel audio, 7.1. So it is HD audio with the audio boost. I don't see a big audio chip on here, but they do say that it's got audio boost. I also didn't mention that there is front USB Type-C capability also on this board, but that is that's standard these days. So that is the MSI Pro Z890-S Wi-Fi unboxed, and just a quick look at how it looks, and yeah, just what you get. So hopefully that just helps you to decide if you want this motherboard, if it'll fit in your box. This is a ATX board, not micro ATX, and you'll need a big chassis for this. Thanks for watching.